Hello, and welcome to the South Coast Artists Index, where artists, performers, and writers, as well as curators, directors, and supporters, anyone with ties to the creative community, drops by to introduce themselves to you. We'll talk about their beginnings, their vision, their passion, and so much more. The South Coast Artists Index podcast is brought to you in part by Heavenly Spirits, who invites you to celebrate the art of life and creative communities everywhere.
Hi, this is Ron Fortier with another, in fact, I think it's the fifth of our live at AHA, or actually the AHA live podcast at Play Arcade. And boy, in 1 month I've totally lost my my memory, right? And this month, we're not really following the AHA theme. We're creating our own theme, and we're trying to highlight and chat with as many musicians as we can in town. One of our ultimate goals for the Artist Index is to create another podcast series that's strictly on musicians. Pretty much like an open kind of concept where the podcast host will just book anybody and everybody. But it'll be a little bit different. It just won't be conversation. It might be a little bit of performance. Anything goes. Because we are documenting as many people as we can, documenting their legacies for your great-grandchildren, and beyond. And beyond. So, we've got our first round of guests, and I'll start off with Kat Knudsen.
Hey, everyone.
And,
good to be back.
Introduce yourself and pass it on, so to speak.
All right,
Kat,
so my name is Kat Knudsen. I am here with the Long Swan group tonight with Mike Heffernan and Ryan Burke. And thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
We have a show that's coming up really soon. We have two shows, actually.
Okay.
October 19th, it is I can't remember what day of the week it is. I think it's like a Friday, maybe. It's the same day as the 4752 Festival, but we're going to be at Stay Gold Pharmacy. We're going to be performing from 4 to 5:30, and we just wanted to give a shout out about that. Stay Gold's located out in Dartmouth, Massachusetts. It's a really cool spot to go hang.
Stay Gold Pharmacy?
Yep, Stay Gold Pharmacy, but pharmacy is spelled with an F instead of a PH. So it's a really cool place to go out and check out. And then we have a show coming up at Poor Farm at the end of the month on the 25th. There's actually going to be a lot of things going on that weekend. We're going to be performing with 14 Strings. That's going to be Friday, October 25th from 9 p.m. until midnight. And then I think there's going to be some really cool things going on here at Play on the 26th. And then Brian and the Cassettes are going to be at Poor Farm that same day on the 26th. And then there's just going to be a whole lot of stuff going on that weekend. So I just wanted to do kind of like a highlight in those activities.
Wow. I mean, gigs abound.
Yes. So tonight I'm here kind of in context to the Long Swan group. But thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having all of us. I'm Ryan, drummer of Long Swan and everything like that. She covered a lot of everything that we're going about and everything. Definitely come and check out Stay Gold Pharmacy. That is a brand new, almost like a music festival kind of feel, like out in like the woods of Dartmouth.
Really?
Where it's just, you hang out, hear some music. They have like little vendors and everything like that. And it's something that's kind of missing in this area, in my opinion, because I do a lot of music festivals up in Maine and everything like that. They have a lot of real estate when it comes to land, so it's a very, very small scale of that, but they're also brand new. It's like a social club.
Where is it located?
Do you remember the name of the street?
The Stay Gold?
Yeah.
It is located, hold on, I can
And where's the pharmacy aspect come in?
Let's look this up really quick.
Do they also sell cannabis on the side?
They don't sell cannabis or anything like that, but it is friendly.
Yes.
Okay.
Trying to look for there it is. It's located at 155 Old Fall River Road, Dartmouth, Massachusetts.
So how close or how far are they from Running Brook?
I would say they were
a landmark there.
I would say they're about a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile away from Running Brook. So we're in that very similar vicinity.
To the west or to the east?
I don't know, but going in the same direction, you would take the same turn on the highway.
If you face Running Brook and you go left, that you're heading towards Fall River. If you go right, you're heading towards New Bedford and the airport and all that, that stuff back there. Wow, it's amazing.
The best I could say is actually if you're here at Play Arcade, 10 minutes when you put it into your GPS.
That sounds about right.
All right. I had to go do something in North Dartmouth. I haven't been out there since I left the country and stopped teaching and everything. And it's like, Caliente? Oh, that must be Chipotle, must have folded or whatever. And it's like, no, there's Chipotle. It's like, I guess it's good to see things that are new versus things that are empty.
Right? Makes like renovating and everything.
Right. Yeah. So in general, the music scene. Let's talk about the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, pandemic, post-pandemic. What happened in those three phases?
Say pre-pandemic, I think there was a lot of activity going on. Some organizations had a really strong handle on having a regular sequence of events and promotional cycles. Then you get the pandemic and everything stopped. And then post-pandemic happens and you've got like some of the same organizations like came back and started these new like cycles of activities that are going on. I think there's a little bit more cross-promotion that's happening post-pandemic than there was pre-pandemic, where you have organizations tagging each other, highlighting each other's activities. And I think there's another level of like collaboration going on amongst the different groups, like between businesses, individual artists, groups of musicians, nonprofits, and whatnot. So
I'm a painter. I'm kind of jealous because we're like isolationists compared to you guys. But then again, how much collaboration other than public artists? How much collaboration is there? I've heard stories of people moving into Hatch because they felt isolated in their home studios. And then they went to Hatch and like, oh my God, I'm just isolated, but in a different place. Because everybody's working and nobody gets together. So we're pitching a series of salons, to use the French pronunciation, a series of salons where we're going to be offering, really good, I hate to use the word advice, but really good subject matter that you can use. And that's one reason for getting together, but the other reason for getting together is to get together.
You need that because then it creates a nice stir. What do you think, Heffernan?
About the collaboration aspect?
Yeah, those like creating those salon atmospheres and like bringing creatives together and the collaboration aspect. And
it's pretty easy with music because, for instance, Kat would present a music piece that she wrote, chords.
Right.
She might need lyrics for it. So we would get together and create a song based on that. She would present something and we would go back and forth and a song would come out of it.
Or vice versa, where you'd have this really cool song that you would create and then I might add some like harmony to it. Or, with Ryan Burke and Ryan Miller like joining the group pretty recently, just adding their own like unique twist and interpretation to like the bass. And you're really incredible on the drums. You got to give a shout out to that. But yeah, it's just that back and forth feedback between like how do you interpret different parts of how each song comes out.
I just left Brian at Fairhaven Frets, and we talked about the Shepherd Center and the whole evolution of how it was supposed to be at the Good Shepherd Church, and then that fell through, and they're at the Congregational Church in Fairhaven. Have you guys played there at all, or have you?
Not yet.
I have.
All right.
Oh yes.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
How is it? It seems to be like an up and coming. It's again, you got to crawl before you walk, and
it's connected to the Congregational Church.
Yeah.
And it's a nice room. They have a really good sound system.
Right.
They have a sound guy that it just creates a really good atmosphere. I've been to the open mic that they've had.
Really?
On the second Wednesdays.
Yeah. It would be great to see something happen, because living in Fairhaven, it was a really good fallback from living in Europe, in Portugal for a year, and getting really used to the cafe society, and that whole laid-back kind of thing. And Fairhaven has some of that vibe, and also the potential for more of that. But to have more mom and pops, have the music create the economy versus the music living off of the economy, that kind of idea.
Yeah, I like that inverse, the music helping to create the economy instead of becoming like a side asset that helps funnel the economy, because then if it becomes more of a center, then it becomes more of the main attraction.
Right.
And I think it's one part of an interwoven component. Shout out to the interwoven venue, who does regular performances like Scapegoat, Scott Bishop, Unexpected concert series. So shout out to them.
That's Rhonda M. Fazio from Interwoven.
Absolutely. But there's that. If the music's the center, then you have these other dynamics that come into play, to support that logistically, versus if you've got something else going on and the music is like an asset to that. That's a different structure. I think having a little bit of both helps. It's just a matter of like designing the layout of the event well enough so that the musicians offering their time and their labor and their value of the experience is compensated well.
Something's going on in Fairhaven because they had a food truck rodeo a couple of weeks ago, and it was like crappy, rainy, nasty weather, and it was a success. So that's got to tell you something. How many? We've got Henrik. Are you ladies waiting to join us at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So,
I guess one other thing, we've got a single EP that's getting ready to come out. It's called Phoenix Bloom. So we just finished recording that, and we're going to be showing that at our next couple of shows. So Stay Gold, October 19th from 4 to 5:30, and Poor Farm, October 25th from 9 to midnight.
All right.
So we'll be sharing that. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can come back, but we'll do this in shifts.
We'll be around.
Which is a great dilemma to be in. I'll tell you that much. All right, so are you familiar with these?
I am not familiar with anybody but you.
Okay. All right.
Hi, I'm Hendrik Hernandez Resto.
Oh, Hendrik Hernandez Resto.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Henrik.
Me, I am an interdisciplinary artist, but my main discipline, I'll say, is making music, and my main form of making music is hip-hop, right? So I produce it, I write it, I record it, I mix it, do the whole nine. But in the last year or so, I got pretty decent with portrait sketching, and I've been taking it pretty seriously, so that's why I've gotten better. And photography a little bit, right? Like with iPhones getting so good, post-editing, videography, anything that I need to do to fortify my art, I'll do. So when you're being an interdisciplinary and you're like, okay, I want to get my drawings out there, it's not that much different than getting your music out there. It's just knowing how to market. So that, and then I've just kind of been a busybody in the community. I've been running around to any event that I can be at with, last week we just did a show with the symphony. I did a show with the Symphony Orchestra of New Bedford, so that was a big deal.
I mean, you're also a good frontman for, let's face it, New Bedford Creative.
Yes, I'm one of the outward-facing people at New Bedford Creative, at the New Bedford Economic Development Council, and they do a lot of grants and a lot of arts-based initiatives and stuff like that. So I'm outward-facing already, even before I got there. So they were like, "Come on in," and they just let me keep facing out. So yes.
Before we introduce our next two musicians, can you give us somewhat of the grant cycle coming up?
Yes.
Is that coming up? There are artists everywhere?
Artists everywhere in wicked cool places. If I can speak on it, which I know I can, is going to be coming out in November. So that grant cycle starts in November, and then we're also looking for people to review the grants. They get a stipend for that, which is a good way to learn how to write grants, is to review them. You don't need to have experience. You're really reading narrative and how well somebody wrote it. You're scoring it. It's not just you scoring that grant. 3 other people are looking at it, so no pressure. And it lets you kind of get insight on it. I got lucky. I scored 4 grants off the rip before I got the job there, and then I got on the inside and I saw the other side. And I was like, oh, okay, so I have a really good understanding.
So you know how they make the sausages?
Yes, I know exactly what happens. But with that said, there are grants right now available through the New England Foundation of Arts, through Mass Cultural Council, which are 2 of the bigger funders in this state and in the New England area, that are very available, very accessible, pretty straightforward to fill out. I know Mass Cultural Council has the Creative Individuals Grant, and that's $5,000 unrestricted, which is unheard of. You could throw that money out the window, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
So the grants are a magical thing, and if you know how to write them and work around them, you could really fund yourself.
Excellent. Okay, and now, who do we have with us?
Hi. My name is Kelly Ann Fernandez, and I'm with Katie Lee.
Hello.
And we are the two front women of Roots Run Wild. We're a 4-piece band. We have a percussionist, hand percussionist, bongos, congas, and a bass player that also plays a lot in New Bedford, Annette Almeida.
So is it an all...
The percussionist is a
guy?
man.
Oh, you read his mind. I love that.
Yeah, Greg Bazinet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So we're very, very excited actually because we literally just unboxed our debut self-titled album.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Just yesterday it came in the mail, and we have an album release event coming up on October 26th.
Were you with the New Bedford Roots Festival with
Roots and Branches?
We did perform at the Poor Farm. We were the opening act at the Poor Farm. Cool. And Katie Lee, actually, she also was the host of the day at the Poor Farm.
Okay, that's why your name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, since we played first and at the Poor Farm, the first stage, we were listed at the top of when you looked at the schedule, so you might have seen our faces there.
Yeah, and
it was an amazing event.
The name fits in with Roots and Branches as well, right? So it just kind of works out.
We belong there, I
yes,
think.
You do.
Yeah, you certainly do.
The marketing wrote itself.
It did.
Yeah. We've got more people coming. I think we got a couple of people who said, this is fantastic.
Ooh,
I mean, this is an embarrassment of riches.
Right? Yeah, it's a rotating podcast.
Which no group has ever grabbed that name. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, embarrassment
of riches.
They don't want the karma that comes with that.
You don't want the karma that comes with that. So are you guys will be our first ever live performers.
All right. Yeah, we can do that.
Do it.
So what are you going to do? What's it called?
What are we going to do?
I thought you brought the song.
That's all right. We got songs. This is called Images. The song is on our album, which comes out on streaming on October 18th, which is next Friday. And then, like Kelly was saying, we're having a big album release show at Myrtle in East Providence on October 26th, 2 to 5 p.m. Molly O'Leary, who's a New Bedford, one of the best, I think, around here, is going to be playing in that show, as well as Brian Valcourt and some members of another local band, Calamity Brain. So it's going to be a great show. Come on down.
Saturday before Halloween, 2 to 5.
All ages. Ready?
I am ready.
Running down the street, path to the river, jump on in, blinders on, water still. Batten down the hatches, watch rip across the flat expanse. This sky, this land, it looks good, kill. All these images persist through the decades, through the mist. Where you go, my friend? Your numbers up, can't reach out my hand. Oh, I heard you're getting bad. Spinning around in circles, sleeping at the station, gasping for air. It's never been a fairy tale. Oh, gotta fight to ramble on. You'll rest better when I'm gone. Don't be misled by shades of gray. Don't be afraid to walk away, even when there's no turning back. You're leaving world, it won't stop turning. Someday yours will fade to black. Someday yours will fade to black.
That's great. Yeah. Not bad for our first time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
That's
much.
fantastic.
We have flyers for our show for those who are here in person.
Yeah, little mini flyer.
Oh, excellent, excellent. All right, can you guys hang around? We're going to bring in a couple more
Yeah,
people.
sure
and
thing. Thank you so
so
much.
keep rotating it around until...
Absolutely.
I'm still waiting for Sean and his... Yes.
Yes, we're gonna have some people rotate in. Come on in.
Yeah. So you're good. You're good.
No, let them come in.
No, you're good because we're... Yeah. You're the odd man in. You're the odd man in instead of the odd man out.
Co-hosting.
Yeah, right. Come on, Max Wickermeyer and Dan Cooney. Come on. I'm going to embarrass Dan. Dan is the proprietor, founder, CEO, co-owner of
International
Heavenly Spirits, and they were our first ever sponsor of.
We believe in you, Ron.
Yes.
And in the New Bedford art scene. Absolutely.
Hey,
Bravo.
yes.
That's the important part.
Right.
But wine isn't so bad.
Paired up with the right stuff, it's extremely delicious.
Wine is food, not an intoxicant.
Yeah. Well,
It depends on who you're talking to.
Well,
Depends who's behind the counter.
Barth, I can't remember Barth's first name, but he said excess is the death of pleasure.
Ooh.
that's pretty strong.
That sounds perfectly imperfect.
And that's not my way of thinking by any means. That's the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know that it's you don't know that it's excess until it is, right?
Yeah.
You know when it's too much.
When you see the floor coming at your face really
Yeah, or you wake up the next day with the bloody nose, and where did this come from?
Driving the porcelain buses, they used to say. So, Dan, tell us about your friend. You already told me about
So
him.
this is Max Wickermeyer. Max and I met working at the Whaling Museum back in the college days, which for us was about 40 years ago.
Richard Kugler.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys were there with the dinosaurs.
We were there with the dinosaurs. And
Mr. Bailey?
Mr. Bailey. He was truly...
He's a classic.
Mr. Parrington.
Harrington, yes.
Parrington was there.
Yep.
Don't remember.
He was the librarian. He was the librarian archivist.
All right.
He was downstairs.
Yeah.
Well, Toby was...
Toby Hall.
Yeah, Toby Hall.
He was also...
Yeah, I remember that name as well.
Historian behind the scenes. Yeah. And there was two guys in the that we hung out with sometimes in
the organization is Whale. That was the organization that
preserves homes.
Yeah, exactly.
And historical stuff. Yes.
Early on.
But that was separate.
Now you're both Swaineys, correct?
Excuse me?
You're both Swaineys, a Swain alumni.
Not here.
Not here.
No, I went to a real university.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Microphone
You do
dropped.
realize that this
He said Swain.
Boston University.
Could you just give us your address and your phone number so they can harass you and burn your house down?
I won't tell you where I live.
Please don't. Wow.
Right there.
That was a quote.
You wouldn't believe where I live.
So anyway, we met there.
Across the street.
And now he's back. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's his apartment right there.
I was trying to remember that conversation, and I thought of Cultivator Shoals, and I was like, nah, it can't be it. And I thought it was further up, but I always confuse it with the other place, Butler Flats. Yeah.
Butler Flats.
Yeah, which is no longer.
It's not there, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you are an artist as well, right?
I'm
of sorts.
Yeah, I'm an artist of life.
BS is an art.
I mean, that's really the way I see it. I do a lot of woodworking. did furniture. I rebuilt a old house, a 200-year-old Cape house in East Freetown. I was crazy about the traditional technique, so I did everything as close to the real thing
Post
as
and beam, mortise and tenon.
Yeah, the whole bit.
So you're an artisan then?
Yep, I would say so.
Which is much loftier than a carpenter.
Well, it's more liberal too.
And
most carpenters are not.
He's also an excellent frame maker. He makes most of my frames, right? Over the years,
we developed a style of frame that was really, it took a lot of a lot of
back and
forth and different sizes.
Yep.
And we've really got it keyed down now to
the right amount of reveal.
Yep.
And it's like a shadow box kind of thing.
And a frame is really, I was talking to someone else today about this. The frame is your protection of the art. And so if you choose it right, and you could be many different styles or whatever, but the key, I think, is protection of the art, so that no matter where you go, it's protected.
In fact, I think I sold a frame today. I sold a painting today because I told them that the frame was made by Max, and the guy knows Max. He said, it might have been the thing to push it over the edge.
Did you guys order pizza?
No.
No, we didn't.
I was looking for fish and chips, but they didn't have any.
No, the pizza here is excellent, though, so try it.
Well, Max, it's funny that you mention that, because we're pitching a salon series for next year. It's going to be grant funded. And we're doing artist estates, why painters should get into auctions. We're doing copyright, trademark, musician representation, or artist representation, fine art reproduction, writers' contracts, authors' contracts, and also publishers' contracts, which are two different, publishing contracts, which are different, and the whole frame thing would be a really interesting thing to do. So, should we get this one off the ground, the next one, you're invited to come and tell us about all of that with the measly little honorarium that we offer as well.
Well, thank you. That's an honor to offer that, and to participate would really be really
because it's one of those areas that a lot of artists, painters especially. Back in the 70s, people used to get lattice and just nail it on the side, and that was it.
He still does that today.
We call that a Swain frame.
A Swain frame.
Yeah, we had the same thing at SMU, Southeastern Massachusetts University, which is
sometimes it's just right. That's all you need.
Yeah.
But he always teased me that I got to make it a little bit better, so I had him do it.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
It's always good to have somebody there to tell you that needs to be better. It can be better. Let's do better.
There you go.
Yeah, that's super important.
What friends are for.
Before
right?
I forget, I'm going to give you a card.
Oh, thank you. I want to say one other thing about being.
Pow! What
thank
a
you.
throw!
Thank you, Ron. That was a good toss.
Yeah. Pow! Damn!
2 for 2,
fire.
right? You guys are invited for a podcast as well.
Max is also a musician. He didn't bring that up, but he's a pretty good guitar player and bass player.
I wanted to say before we go or whatever that
we've got more guests coming in. So.
I was being facetious about Swain, and I'm serious.
Yes.
Too late. Damage is done. They're burning your apartment now.
I'm gonna bring it back around.
Saving grace here.
I'm gonna bring it back around and say that I was so interested in Swain in the 80s. I did a history of Swain school.
Really?
And part of it involved going to different locations of important people of Swain, including Nashon Island, or
right? We did it together during the 100th anniversary or something.
Yeah.
And,
well,
I invited him.
That's going to win you 2 spots on the show. One to talk about frame making and your other life thing, and then that one specifically, because really, and this is a plug now for the Artist Index.
Yeah.
We are here to document the legacies of artists.
Yeah.
Visual, performing, literary, and culinary. As crazy as that may sound. And we've had some big culinary people come out of this area that the Food Network started here.
Yeah.
Really?
Right. People don't know that.
No,
right?
I did not.
Yeah. It came out of ABC Channel 6. And why it may not be important to a lot of people now, but in the future, when it's like, okay, you listen to your parents yammer on about Uncle Ned and Aunt Martha and Grandpa this and that, and you're like, yeah, whatever. And then you decide you're going to do your DNA and you're going to start doing your genealogy. It's like, I should have paid more attention.
Yeah, a little bit.
And our inspiration has been from Mary Jean Blasdale, who wrote the seminal book, The Artists, of New Bedford, a biographical dictionary. And in fact, we've got to get her back. We had her on we had a long conversation. Like, we should have recorded this. But what she did was absolutely phenomenal, because everybody who has lived, worked, gone to school here, or gigged or exhibited or whatever, short of buying a stick of gum here, has left something behind of great importance.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I never realized until a couple of years ago how lucky I am to have done the podcasts, all these podcasts, and to speak one-on-one with all these different artists. 3 of the artists that I have spoken with are no longer with us. Most recently, Kevin Jose.
Kevin Jose? Yes.
Yeah. Jose, he was Haitian.
Oh, it's Jose.
Yeah.
Very good to know.
Jose, yeah, really.
We knew him as Demped around the way.
Demped, exactly.
Love Demped.
Photographer and a writer. He was supposed to come back and talk about his writing side of his life. He had terminal cancer, didn't know it. And then Don Hoagland, who was a master goldsmith, master silversmith, was on the show. And then we had a mutual friend that we wanted to memorialize on the podcast, who he was one of the co-founders of the Center Street Festival, which was considered one of the finest artisan crafts festivals on the East Coast. Yep. And we knew the backstory with his demise, and then Don himself dies. So this is really, really serious stuff. It's really, really important, that we have this here. And like with Deb, Imagine now, we've got that to look, he's the most recent, we've got that to look back on, so.
You're doing good work, Ron, and we're glad to be part of it.
Yeah, it's super important.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Importance of tradition.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, in the documentation, we're fortunate to have the technology and the things that we have now to do such things like this so easily. Like, how hard would it have been to record something like this?
Right? It would have been almost impossible,
right? Because a piece of equipment like this, I'm a gear guy. I know what this would cost, and I know how readily and how not readily this was available to people at a consumer level until just recently.
How about the people during the WPA who recorded the Appalachian, all of the folk, the blues and folk artists, the former slaves.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if they realize what the heck they did. Now the slave narratives are really coming to the forefront, and the blues thing is making another comeback.
It's available to the public on the National Congress Library.
Yes. The beginning of the movie Cadillac Records starts like that, with Muddy Waters on a plantation. Right. The gentleman from the from Congress's library was recording people, and he recorded him, and he was like, "You're really good. You should go somewhere and do something with that." Yeah. And then off to Chicago he went.
I saw Muddy Waters in Boston in the late 70s at the Jazz Workshop.
Beautiful.
Oh, it was amazing. He was as far away as this table on the guitar, rocking all night long. It just amazing and just memorable, and I'll never forget.
I worked at a pharmacy around the way at Rite Aid when it was on Purchase Street, and the pharmacy manager was named Antone Roberts, and he had an iPod back when the iPods were the thing, but he had like the really big joint, and he had this extensive library of music. And I, big hip hop head, I hadn't been exposed to much else, and he would just play music. After we landed on the Electric Mud album by Muddy Waters, and it really changed like how I saw music after that. It was a really good thing. So when I heard Cadillac Records, the movie was about him and Etta James and Cadillac Records. I ran to it, and it was such a good feel. But much credit to Tony Roberts, because I wouldn't have got exposed to that had it not been for him.
Music tradition.
Exactly what we're talking about, right?
Exactly. Well, guys, we got two more. You guys want to come on up?
Thanks so much.
Who's coming on?
We've got the Fitzgeralds. Okay, Sean Fitzgerald.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you introduce your bandmates?
I shall start that process right now. I am Sean G. Fitzgerald, lead voice for the NB Rude Boys.
Rude Boys.
And on my left, which you cannot see that because you can only hear this, is the one, the only. I will introduce to him as the leader of the Horn Corps, the NB Rude Horns. Why don't you tell us your name there? And going around the...
Yeah, I'm a backup vocalist.
Hype man.
Hype man. Percussionist. Don Chisel.
Yeah.
NB Rude Boys.
And you guys are called?
We are the NB Rude Boys.
Okay.
Straight out of New Beige.
Straight out of New Beige.
Straight out of New
The
Beige.
Secret City.
So how long... Oh, and what does the G stand for?
The G is my middle name, and that was my grandmother's maiden name. It stands for Golden.
Golden.
Yes.
Okay.
So, we're the NB Rude Boys. We have been performing in the area for approximately 6 years, in and around New Bedford, as far as Boston, Providence, up north. Did a little New Hampshire. Taking a few spiritual journeys as well.
We have you guys on video on our website.
Yes, we were honored to be chosen
the YouTubes,
to be featured on the South Coast.
Actually, you were the first live performers that we've featured.
Yeah. That was
live to tape. Yeah.
That was the July 28th show at Cisco. Yep, with Bim Scala Bim.
Yeah, we want to get more people involved. Even like the small moments like this, because someday somebody's going to be wondering. Like, okay, my mother was a performer. She was a traditional Portuguese fado performer, but she sang American classics as well. And what I know there's recordings of her. She just passed a couple of months ago, and what I wouldn't give to hear that again.
Right.
Because we think, when we're in our time, that what we do is, well, pay me the money. Oh, yeah, I got a gig in that place. I always wanted to sing there. And that we don't go beyond that. But what we do is important, not just for now, but it's also important for the future.
Right.
That's very true.
Right, when you're in the moment, you don't think about it because you're just enjoying it. I said in the moment, you don't really think about those things because you just, in the moment, you're going with it. But then afterwards, it's like,
Yeah,
it also shows too. You see the, it's almost like a butterfly effect. We've been doing this for a little while. I've been doing it for a long time. It's good to see other newer, fresh blood coming up in the area too. A lot of young, good acts. A lot of different acts too. You had KT and Kelly on earlier. Fantastic group, Roots Run Wild. Fantastic. You guys have your album release on October 26th, right? Yeah, really looking forward to checking that out.
PR guy.
Yeah. I try to pay attention, to, like I said, there's a lot of good music.
Always on it, boy.
A lot of inspiring artists like them, and can't help but just, I get high off it too,
Yeah.
So it's cool.
I mean, and that we're not only trying to deal with contemporary people, and then when it comes to the art, to painting, people think, oh, contemporary is modern. No, it's now.
Right.
Okay? So dealing with the now is easy. Trying to deal with the historical it's kind of hard to talk to dead people. So we are trying to get people to talk about people, because if you knew somebody who was a musician, a painter, a writer, or whatever, and you talk about them, there's an African proverb that says, you die twice. The first time is when you draw your last breath. The second time is when the last person to speak your name dies.
Right.
And that's really super important. And I'm thinking about, we want to create more podcast series, and one of them is to go back to the old days of Alhambras, Billywood Wharf. I mean, for some people, that's Grandpa tell me. Grandpa tell me about Alhambras. You know what I mean? Which is like my generation. Asking our parents to tell us about the Lincoln Park Ballroom.
Right.
Where it seems like everybody that generation met.
Right.
So.
No, but that's why it's good to like always introduce the younger generation to the old stuff. But give them room to do what they do. Yeah. But also like have podcasts and different outlets where they could find out about the old school. But I noticed too, even with my kids and my nephews and all that stuff, nieces, when they tune in to the old school stuff and they start listening to the lyrics, they dig it. Because a lot of the stuff they listening to now, they recognize there's a lot of, it is what it is in their generations. But when they get to listen to a lot of, and they're actually fans of the old school stuff, and you find like teenagers nowadays going with their parents to like, our old school R&B concerts and stuff because they hip to that stuff. So it's like definitely need that.
My wife was born and brought up in Motown.
Yeah.
And she went to school with a lot of those people. I mean, the Supremes lived all around her in that same neighborhood. And it's a phenomenal. You don't know that you're rubbing elbows with history.
Exactly.
And they started off with a doo-wop. The stoop singers, people singing in front of their houses, and it evolved, with Gordy Barry and the whole 9 yards. And I wish that would come back because I mean that music. I remember like in study hall in 8th grade. It's a little hard to be in study hall hearing the Temptations or the Box Tops. I mean, it's like. But what memories,
even here in New Bedford with the Tavares.
Oh my God,
local legends, and it's like, I mean, I wasn't born and raised here, but I have years living here, but it blew my mind to know,
where
you can see Tiny
originally?
Tavares just walking around New Bedford.
Well, I lived next door to their aunt, so they were always next door to.
And that's because I'm originally from Brooklyn.
Okay.
So like you would hear their music on the radio and stuff like that, but when I moved to New Bedford, like, he's right there at the coffee shop, just sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like New Bedford. Everybody's a celebrity here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's another true thing. There's been so many people that have come from this place.
Yeah.
And then Dave Reese, who does our jazz podcast series, the way he set up his podcast series is simple enough. He's like, all the jazz greats that came to New Bedford, and all the jazz greats that left New Bedford.
Yeah.
And he was a little kid, and he got to see Duke Ellington and all these people. And like he said, it was time, people think up north there was no racism. That's bullshit. And like he said, you could play in the supper clubs and the dinner clubs and the nightclubs, but you couldn't eat there. You couldn't be a guest.
Right.
So in the Cape Verdean community, they would have, stay over with us. And so for him, that was a phenomenal situation to meet all these incredible people. Right. And he's like a walking history book.
But that's what I mean. That's that history that I wish somebody could do a documentary and you really show that. You know what I mean? Because New Bedford is crazy like that. It has a lot of rich, deep history that you won't even know. You'll think about all the famous faces and names that just casually passed through here. And actually, this was their start. They came to New Bedford and actually started from here and then took off.
It does get more bizarre the more you look into it. Gene Kelly's choreography for Singing in the Rain, the woman was from New Bedford.
Okay. Is that right?
Paul Clayton wrote Dylan's 6 top hits. He was from New Bedford.
Really?
I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and that's kind of a cool thing.
But that's what they call a secret city.
Yeah.
That's why they named it that. There's so much little hidden gems and talents and history that, like, when you come here, you're like, wow.
Yeah, it's a favorite of many celebrities who come to the Boston area, even New York.
Yeah.
They come down to New Bedford. Mo Vaughn was seen here all the time back in the day. A few Celtic players have been down here.
Well, I worked at Freestones, and Moses Malone, Bill Murray. I saw, what the heck was his name from Hollywood Squares? Charles Nelson Riley. So I'm waiting for the ferry. I mean, it was like...
Hello, Ron.
A friend of mine's daughter was a bartender at the old darts place. I forgot what it was called. She said Stephen King used to hang around here a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So it's like, there's got to be something. And then, people at certain...
New Edition.
New Edition.
New Edition used to hang out in New Bedford a lot. So I actually had a friend because I've been around New Bedford for like probably over 20 years, you know what I mean? But when I first moved out here, like junior high school days, I had a friend that used to hang out all the time. Rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? He passed away. But I used to hang out at his house, and his mother used to tell us all the time, oh yeah, New Edition, they used to come hang out at my house, and this, that, and this was before they were like New Edition. They were young kids trying to, do music and stuff, but they'll always be in New Bedford, hanging out. Bobby Brown, Mike, Bill, all of them.
Ralph.
Was it Beaver Brown?
Huh?
Beaver Brown, John Cafferty, the Beaver Brown Band.
Antunes. Yeah, I was just going to say, because Antunes and Tavares were completely melded together.
And I mean, the Antunes.
Boston with another Antunes, right?
Yeah. You've got, that Antunes family now, you've got Kevin Antunes, the nephew of Mike Antunes, who was in the Beaver Brown Band.
Yeah.
Kevin's the musical director for Madonna. He directs all her tours. I think...
really, we got to get this on paper.
His brother Troy was touring with her band. Yeah, so there's so much. That's
really?
Wow.
Yeah, smoking musicians, all of them.
Secret City, man.
Secret City.
And right behind all that is the MB Rude Boys.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about the Rude Boys. Where are you guys at? What are you doing? What's coming up?
This weekend we're at Narragansett Brewery on Saturday.
Oh, really? In Cranston? In Cranston?
Providence. Providence.
Yeah. Yeah, they always say you can always tell somebody from Cranston versus Providence. Providence. There's no I's in Providence.
Providence.
See, that's Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Lingo
No.
Right
that's Rhode Island.
Rhode
Island. Yeah.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, Narragansett Beer. We've been trying to get them as a sponsor.
It's all right. We'll work on them for you.
Yeah. I haven't seen Mark Hellendrung in years. Just when he was getting started up, we would have him when I was doing marketing for a big lumber yard. Yeah. It's contractor night. You had to keep everybody happy and stuff like that. So Narragansett Beer was coming back, and it was absolutely amazing to see how that has grown from a dead beer, basically.
Right. Yeah. So now it's iconic to an extent.
I mean, that's what my stepfather drank. You know?
Wow.
And and I'm just stuck on it just because.
Right.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So.
So we got we have the gig tomorrow, Saturday night, and we're just wrapping up some recording right now at Trevor Riley's studio here in New Bedford, Mass.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how many studios are there? Because at one time there was Metcalf, and that was about it. Metcalf was on Rivet Street.
Right. There are, along with Mikey Montero.
Montero.
I mean, there's a few, but it's like
Joe. He's out in Dartmouth though. Joe Carrier.
Joe Carrier.
I don't know if he's still doing recording out there.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think he's more promoting now and doing.
Because they were doing stuff with the Boston Symphony.
Like that. Huh?
They were cutting jingles with the Boston Symphony.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Him and Ron Gamache. I don't know if he's still around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wrote some of the best jingles for some of the biggest businesses, Silverstein's, Carton's Jewelers. I mean, they're all gone now, but
he's been doing this thing like for years. Always, if he's not promoting, he was into music. I think he was in that rap group, Lethal Package, back in the day in New Bedford. And he's dead. So he was that rap crew right there was one of the they were one of I guess one of the most popular, and well-known names in New Bedford.
Yeah.
And around that time, it was like Seven-Headed Angel too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think what you call it, Busted Fro. I Can Die Now. And, these guys I'm mentioning, they still doing their thing. They're not part of these groups, but they came out of New Bedford. I think Busted Fro, they're in Providence now. They're called Dirty Dirty. Mm-hmm. They're still doing their music. They made some noise out in Providence. Yeah. They selling they got a line of blunts, Else or whatever.
Oh, really?
So they're doing their thing. Sire Law, he's still doing this thing. I think he's out in Boston or forever or whatever, but he's still active doing this thing. So it's like, but what you call it, Carry On was part of that wave that was had everybody going. So he's from there. He kept on promoting and doing stuff, but he stayed on the scene doing this thing though. So shout out to him.
We're coming up on the end of our time. Would we like to have the ladies take us out, so to speak?
Oh yeah,
I love the ladies. Sure. Take me out anytime.
Take us out
anytime. I like Guinness, ladies. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And eventually we're going to get all you guys individually on. There's just so much to do. It's like shoveling against the tide in a good way.
That's a good problem.
Yeah. So we're looking for sponsors and underwriters. So anybody out there with a business or a few dollars to help, all the money goes back. It goes back into getting more podcasters, more more production, more content. Yeah. And we're at a point right now, honestly, where we've got to start scheduling. We're getting a lot of backlog. We've never had this much before. So
nice.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah.
Thank you,
and
South
thanks
Coast
for putting the
Artists
word
Event.
out there.
Oh, you got that right.
All right.
Anytime. Next time, though, I want to see you in shorts. You got great legs.
Oh, wait a minute. You took a very nice photograph of my Popeye legs.
Yes, I did. Thanks so much.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I love this place.
It's so bizarre.
It's really weird and really fun, and it's just perfect
for
this space.
I know.
It's certainly the nicest thing that's ever been in this space that I can recall my years here.
Well, yeah, my stepfather was a fisherman, and next door was
Yeah.
But when I was in Catholic school and we wanted to sell Christmas cards or whatever, raffle tickets, I go in there, one stop, boom, sold out. So,
there you go.
but there was some nefarious characters next door.
All right, are you ready?
What is the name of this selection, by the way?
This song is called Off Limits. It is another one off of our album that is coming out October 18th on Spotify and all those places. And written by Katie. And we are Roots Run Wild. I'm not sure if we said that. So thank you for having us.
It's always good to repeat it.
This has been awesome, even just listening to the other conversations.
Yeah,
really fun.
Great.
Soft and low. There's a shiver in my spine, it's getting colder. I see you looking and walking slow. You're off the limits. You're off limits. I know. Black guitar and perfect hair. You got the beer, famous man. Watch you play, trying not to stare. by your favorite band, you're off limits. You're off limits. And no, side to side, so. Loved her once, it went south. She keeps looking at your mouth, your pretty blue eyes. I can see her realize you're off limits. You're off limits. I know. Think you know.
What a great way to go out on this.
Thank you so
much.
much.
It really is.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful.
Thanks for having us. This was so fun.
Thank you. And don't forget, you guys are invited as a group and also individually, because that's one of the things about groups. And same thing with Long Swan. You guys got to come on as a group. One of the things that we're going to try to do is going to try to do something a little bit different with video and the podcast, where it's not going to be all conversation, and it'll have a little bit of performance. So we're just trying to expand more and trying to create more content, but also have, if you're in a group, show up with a group, and then schedule you individually because you are individual artists. So with that in mind, thanks so much, folks.
Thank you so much.
We're wrapping up our 5th live at AHA. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you next week for another episode of the South Coast Artist Index podcast. To learn more about the South Coast Artist Index, visit theartistindex.com. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.